So this is the second part of a multi-part series on the home test kits that you can buy at any box store to see about mold contamination in your home. So what we're going to talk about this time is about viable analysis, which is Petri dishes. This technique is probably the most complicated of the other methods that you can use. So you buy this Petri dish at a box store, and you read the instructions and you do what they tell you to do. Take the Petri dish and you put it under maybe the supply vent of your HVAC system, or you just put it out on your table. So the limitations on this is that you really can't tell what is elevated and what is normal, because there's mold always around that you're breathing. The second is you always have to remember that the only thing that grows in the Petri dish are what are considered viable spores. Not all spores in the air are viable. That means they don't germinate. Maybe you got 10% viability or 30% viability. So the thing to remember is whatever you get in your Petri dish is going to be underreporting what's actually in the air. Another limitation is that when you submit the Petri dish to the laboratory, you always have to remember that the growth conditions in the laboratory are going to be different than what's in your home. So maybe your home is 70 degrees and at the laboratory it's going to be 90. So that causes a bias between what likes to germinate in certain temperature and humidity ranges that's not going to be represented in your home. And then the biggest problem is the collecting technique. So we're going to discuss that for a heartbeat. This is the device that's used for collecting samples with a Petri dish. You have a funnel here, then you have a plate here that's got 600 finely machined holes, and then you got a base plate here. So the Petri dish goes here, then this goes on top, then you put the funnel on top, and then you pull through a suction pump 28 liters per minute for 3 minutes, 3 minutes only. When you take the Petri dish out, you're going to see that in the paste you have 600 finely machined holes that have just drilled air into the paste. Then you put it in a cooler and you FedEx it overnight to the laboratory so that growth does not begin until you get to the laboratory. If you don't do that and you just put it in a package, then it's going to be like an air temperature for 4 or 5 days, and you're going to have growth before it gets to the lab, and you don't want that. That's not accurate. Anyway, there's some considerations, and then when the report comes back to you, what does it mean? That's always a problem with laboratory reports, is that you have to have some training to be able to read them. This is Bob Bennett, Farsight Management. It's better to use Farsight than hindsight.